Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. Thanks for listening this Sunday afternoon. If you miss any of today's show, you can catch us online at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. We do make videos of all the segments, so you can always grab more information online at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. And if you've got a real estate question, which you very well may after this segment, give us a call, 281-882-8088, and we'll be happy to answer your real estate questions right here on the air every Sunday between 11 and noon. That number again, 281-882-8088. You can also tweet us your questions using hashtag HRER, and we'll answer your questions via Twitter as well. I'm talking with Paul St. Amand today. He is from Champion School of Real Estate. He is the director of Champion School of Mortgage Lending. So he's been teaching over there for a long time, and he's heard of a lot of real estate scams. So that's what we were talking about first segment today, and that's what we're going to close out the show talking about today, because there's a lot of scams out there that consumers, unfortunately, are getting caught in. And it happens all the time, not just when the market's hot, but it happens all the time. And it seems like the bulk of it happens to people who are in distress. They're short selling their house, or they're going into the foreclosure process. It seems like that's where the bulk of it is. But there are other schemes out there that have to do with real estate and renting as well. Is that right, Paul?
Absolutely. One of the more common scams is a rental scam. And this one's kind of interesting because it's done a couple different ways. Number one, they'll place an ad in the newspaper or whatever. And, of course, there's usually never a realtor involved. There's the red flag right there. But
always use your realtor.
But somebody doesn't want to pay the fees.
Right.
So they get an agreed-on price. Someone calls up. They agree on it. The fraudster actually, if the rent's $1,000, will send in a check for $1,800. And immediately the landlord will call them back up and say, hey, you sent me too much money, and request to have the money refunded back to them. Mm-hmm. Or another scenario would be where they actually send them the correct amount, but then a couple of days later say, we can't rent the property, please give us a refund. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens is, of course, the landlord is going to cash the check immediately. Mm-hmm. Most banks aren't going to put a hold on the funds. Mm-hmm. Okay, and sure enough, the fraudster is going to get their money back. Usually some P.O. box or someplace that they can move around with.
Right.
And then soon afterwards, when the bank realizes after the check goes through the Federal Reserve that it's not good, guess who gets hung up with the funds?
And that could be 10, 15 days later.
Yes. And by then, the fraudster's long gone.
So the main thing on these rental scams is if you're the I guess you could be the tenant or the landlord, depending on which scam you're talking about. But the main thing is, if you're refunding money, don't do it until the check's cleared. Make sure that the funds are good.
Now, another version of this is they're going to other websites. Sometimes they'll take a legitimate rental property that a realtor does have the
Now, I've seen this happen. I've personally seen this one happen. Yep.
And they duplicate the site. Mm-hmm. And it looks professional, or they'll go to Craigslist.
Yeah, they scrape the site.
And then next thing you know, same thing happens. They get their money and they run.
Yep, that's right. I've seen that personally happen, and that's a tough one.
Not only getting the money, but then damaging the legitimate real estate broker's reputation.
That's right. Yep, and it's all because a fraudster just scraped the site, and yep. I've seen that one happen. So the main thing here is don't ever rebate funds until you know you have. And I think a lot of people make the mistake, just because I was in the banking business a long time ago. I think people look at their account online and it shows that it's gone through, it's been deposited, and it's been 3 or 4 days. So they assume the funds are good. It can take over 10 days sometimes to know that check is not good.
Absolutely.
And then it gets pulled back out of your account, and there's a problem.
And most people don't realize that can happen to them.
Right.
They think the bank's going to go after the person who wrote the bad check.
Bank doesn't care.
They don't care.
One of the biggest sources of revenue for a bank is the NSF charges.
Yes.
And ATM charges. Okay, so let's talk about the short sale frauds, because we're not really in a short sale market anymore. We're past that. But at some point in time, a few years ago, we had a lot of short sales.
We were talking earlier about that. A lot of these fraud schemes that we're talking about, they've already happened.
Yeah.
And what the new fraudsters are thinking about,
we don't even know
about
it yet.
Idea.
It's happening, and we don't even know about it
But
yet.
I just recently heard about this flopping, and I thought it was fascinating to share with today. Here, the fraudster basically works on a short sale scenario. The situation I heard about involved a real estate agent working for a broker, real estate broker, made an offer on a short sale. $300,000 was owed on the property. Made an offer of $260,000. Wasn't accepted.
So this is a realtor doing something fraudulent.
Yes.
Okay.
So the offer wasn't accepted. A few weeks go by, house is sold. Same broker, real estate broker's company. On investigation, the salesperson noticed that the offer that was accepted was at $222,000 or $220,000, some $40,000-$60,000 less than what they offered. Couldn't figure that out. Went to the broker, asked, "How could that be? We made a better offer. We would have been willing to pay $260,000.
Yeah.
$220,000 was accepted," and the broker basically said, "You just need to keep this quiet."
Oh, wow.
It was later found out that another salesperson in that very office made the low bid offer of $220,000, turned around, sold the property the very next day for $300,000.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you who it was. Was it a franchise, though?
No.
Okay, it was a non-franchise. Okay. So it doesn't matter. You never know who it is. You never,
In-house.
It's in-house. Yeah, you wouldn't know.
You would trust your broker, wouldn't you?
That's right. You would. So on this one, what's interesting about this is because I have seen consumers on both sides of this questioning why the bank wants you to continue to put in offers. So, for example, you've got a good legitimate buyer on the short sale saying, "Here's my offer. Why hasn't the bank accepted it? I put it in weeks ago. I'm waiting on it." And then, as if you're the listing agent and you get another offer, you now have to submit the second offer. And the buyer is going, "Mine was submitted 3 weeks ago. Why are you submitting another one? Let mine go through. I really want this house." And the realtor who has it listed has to put through the other offer. And this is why, to prevent things like that happening. But the consumer, the sad part is the consumer's caught in this no matter what on these short sales, because the consumer who's the buyer putting in the bid, the lower bid, is really not wanting any more bids to come through because they want the property and legitimately. The realtor doesn't want to put any more bids in because they want them to get the property, and the owner of the home wants to get it sold because they don't want to get foreclosed on, but the whole reason that the banks want you to continue submitting the offers is so that this fraud doesn't happen where there could be a bad egg and they're undercutting the bank.
Something about fiduciary duty.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Oh, these are just frustrating to hear about. It's frustrating to hear that, that people in our market who have done this. Really, really frustrating. So there are lots of different types of real estate fraud going on out there. And I guess, what's the moral of the story? What do you do?
Well, according to the FBI, if the deal sounds too good to be true, if you're going to be making too much money, it probably is too good to be true. And you need to watch about that. Another thing I always say, work with people you know locally. Work with realtors, mortgage professionals, title companies that you know personally.
Yeah.
You could avoid 99% of this if you just worked with people that you know. Get referrals from people.
Yeah, or somebody that your friend knows, your family, or somebody that someone has worked with that you know.
Right. Don't accept overpayment on rental properties. Don't even cash the check.
Send it back.
Send it back. You just got to be careful on everything you do. Look for red flags. Look for red flags in this market.
So,
watch for sellers offering more than the asking price.
Okay.
In this market, though, that's pretty common. But I mean, I'm not talking $10,000 or $20,000. Right. I'm talking substantially.
50, 60.
There's one reason why in the mortgage business now, when we get an appraisal, we look to see if there's been any major change in the listing over the last 6 months. A home that's listed for $200,000 didn't sell. Now it sells, gets changed to $300,000 and sells them in a week.
Okay. So that's one of the red flags. Okay. What do you tell consumers? How do they protect themselves? Anything they can do to protect themselves?
Yes, work with a real estate professional and report anything that you suspect.
How would they report it? Who would they report to?
Well, Texas Attorney General's office, Greg Abbott, Consumer Protection Division, they'll be able to help you out. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, a new watchdog agency. You can go to their website and they'll also help you. And your local FBI office. FBI, last time I talked to them, they had some 600 active files going in the Houston area.
Wow, that's a lot of scams. Yeah, I definitely think working by referral and working with people that you know that have longevity in the market and that you know people who've worked with is a great thing. You can't say that enough. All right, we'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio. Every week we bring you news and information you can use, and you can go to our website and find out more at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com.